All right. Hey, Alex.
Yo.
Just going to wait for some other people to join here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for anyone that might be watching the live stream, we're going to be working on the Trail of History app, and we're going to implement a recycler view for the points of interest that are on the Trail of History. We're also going to be live coding this, so feel free to jump in and ask questions and help code this out. I want this to be more interactive than one way, and hopefully doing it this way we'll all learn together instead of just someone telling you how it is. So, all right, let's get started. So right now I've just got the master branch checked out, and I got everything synced up earlier today. I made sure that I had all of the latest emulators and Google Play services and everything downloaded. Of course, the Google Play services is bundled in the emulator. Anyway, so made sure I had all the updated SDK files, and then I started working on the data. So I figured it'd be good to just kind of start and go through what I did to Firebase. So I went through and I set up Firebase to make sure that the Ranger app would work to start with. So doing that, I created my own Firebase app. Then I added, you'll see I have two apps here. The first one, I just did the standard setup for the Trail of History with the Ranger package name. And then the second one I set up for the Trail of History app itself. So we want to have two separate apps, I believe, because I think that'll let us do analytics separately so that we can see what's being used. Also, things like, crash reports, and we wouldn't want to get crash reports for two apps with the same file. Okay. So I imported all the data, and then the one thing that I've added here, beyond what we saw last time, is you'll see image URL. So with Firebase, you have storage, and in order to store images, you can just create a folder, and then I upload these manually. So I'm going to push these images and show you guys how to do that. But essentially, you can create your images in Firebase storage, and then all you have to do is go here to File Location, and then it will give you a download URL. If you copy this download URL, then you can just go over here and add a new field, and then paste the download URL into the point of interest. So what that'll let us do is use something like Picasso to download the different images for the points of interest. Now, we'll have to go back and update the Ranger app to save the images and then update the corresponding image URL on the point of interest JSON. That shouldn't be too hard. So that It's kind of a simple way to get images onto Firebase and then download them and show them in your app. All right, so first step to actually modifying the code. One thing I forgot here was I set up the auth, and then I also added anonymous sign-in beyond just email password. So for Ranger, we've got email password, but for regular view only, then we need to have an anonymous user signed in. That'll do things like eventually let a user browse all of the points of interest, but then if they wanted to post something, then we could delay creating an account until they get to that point. You know, traditionally a lot of apps make you sign up or sign in immediately. That's actually kind of annoying. A lot of users, I think, just want to download the app and look around and not necessarily create a user account. So this is a way to do that. And again, that's just enabling the anonymous sign-in method. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this from scratch here. First thing that I normally do is create a new branch. We'll just call this feature/POI list. Okay, so I'm on my branch here. Now, Seth made some really awesome updates to the app for using RxJava and Dagger. After thinking this through, this pattern, along with adding in Firebase, is very advanced, and I would say for an expert level Android developer. And since we've got people of all different skill levels and at different phases in their Android development career, I think we're going to just simplify this and remove a lot of this stuff. So Seth, I'm sorry, man, I'm about to delete a bunch of code, but don't hold it against me. It's for good cause. So first thing we need to do here is start removing all of this stuff to just get the app down to a plain main activity. So you see we've got debug, flavor. I'm just going to get rid of that. We're going to keep the test versions because those will be useful. We'll want to have unit tests and potentially have UI tests in the future because what if we want to keep around. Get rid of release. Okay. Now I'm going to look at the build.gradle file. So we can probably keep retro lambda in here. I think that's fine. But all of the square and retrofit stuff we're not going to need with Firebase, so we'll delete that. We're not going to need Dagger anymore, and we're not going to use the RX Java right now. This could be added in later if someone wants to. But just for now, I think this will get us to where we need. So now there's a new version of the build tools out. So I think it's 4.0.2 maybe. 4.2.0, I don't know. We'll see in a second. 4.2.0. So we'll update everything to that. Make sure we're on the latest version of Google Play services since we're building a new app. Okay. Install build tools are at 4.0.1. Let's see. Yep, 4.0.1. You know, there's supposed to be, I think Rick Wharton built a plugin to manage this for you. Also, we can change the target. We can target 24 now. I remember the same thing. Let my machine stop. Okay. All right, so cleaned a lot of the Gradle stuff out. Now it's time to start diving into the separate source files and cleaning things up. So we've got a test point of interest here. I guess that was using GSign. Probably add GSign back in. So, do you guys know if GSign has like a? Is it just that? Is that all you have to pull in, or is there another version? Remember? Oh, somebody has their tab setting to 2. I'm just going to keep this default, so everyone else's default settings apply. So we add GSign back in. That should fix the point of interest test. All right, so that's good. We'll leave the test alone. Now we're really going to do some damage over here, and we'll delete some stuff. And again, Seth, I'm sorry, man. It's still a good history, so we can always recover this. It's not actually gone. It's just temporary. So within this, we've got an app, and this is setting up our graph and doing a lot of other things for Dagger. So start off by deleting this component. We'll just clean this up. We can save Timber because that's a pretty awesome logging framework. But then I don't need the component. Probably don't need to pass this context around like this anymore. Okay, so we'll just move this guy off and up. Then the other thing that we want is the main activity. We want to keep that guy around and this guy. There's this point of interest adapter, which we can just leverage this exactly how it is. And there's a model class that we could just modify to essentially pull over what's been done in the Ranger class into our model class here. And then if we have time, we'll try to factor out a common shared component. Because I think it'd be nice, we've been talking about having like all the shared logic, such as things that are getting points of interest or creating points of interest in another module, and then they're only in one place. And then it's less code to maintain, so that's always good. All right, but this other stuff like the API, we can get rid of this. We can actually get rid of this whole package. Then we can get rid of the main activity component. then we can get rid of the single in and all of this. Okay. So this, gonna move this out back into the main package. Factor, and then package anymore. All right, so we'll just kind of clean up the main activity here. Get rid of dagger. And get rid of the composite subscription. Not going to do that anymore. I'm going to grab the subscription. Might need these methods, so I'll just keep them out for now. So fill in the progress dialog. Yes. Dialog.dismiss. Okay, well, we will comment out the progress dialog for now. I think we're going to come back to this guy. Oops. Clean up our imports here. Clean up our imports here. Let's just check out the model class. Clean up imports. Clean up imports. Okay. Okay. From this point, what I want to do is just run the app now. Make sure that all of the cleaning that we did is good. So first, since there's a bunch of generated code from Dagger, we're going to do a clean project. If you want to get rid of all that stuff, it's not going to work anymore. Alright, so now we should be able to kind of run this guy. Got a simulator running 5x with API 23, running Google APIs. If it runs. Alright, so we got rid of all of the Dagger components and RxValid stuff, and we're just left with the recycler view and the most basic data here that's from past application. So I'll go ahead and take this opportunity to do a little commit. Always just do git status, see what's out there. So you can see all the files that I've deleted, and then it shows you all the files that I've modified. If you want to see my dot file, so you can get your command prompt to look like this, it's on my GitHub under dot files. I took mine from one of the examples from GitHub and then modified it to my liking. I really do like having all of the information about what branch I'm on, as well as my username and my computer on here. Then this little icon is telling me that I have deleted and modified files. So we just do git add dot. So that will add all of the files that I've modified to my staged, to what Git calls staged. So now we can do git status, and you'll see that all of these files are ready to be committed. So we'll do a little commit, git commit n. We'll say simplified main TOH app for learning purposes. I don't know. Alright. So I haven't pushed my branch up yet, but at this point I want to push my branch up to GitHub just in case anything happens. I don't lose all my work, so I'll do git push -u. And when you do u, that's setting your main upstream branch. So origin development, excuse me, feature slash POI list. All right, so now if we go to GitHub, you'd see that. The other thing that I can do is show you guys the remotes that I've got. So you see I've got origin, which is my personal GitHub trail of history Git, and then I've got the upstream, or the standard terminology for the kind of main open source repository that I forked from. So that's just the CLT meetup trail of history. So the plan here is I'm going to do all of my development on a branch. And once I'm done, I'm going to make sure that I pull the latest changes into my copy of master from the upstream. And then I'm going to merge my branch into master. And at that point, then I'll submit a PR to the upstream repo to merge the code in for everyone. All right. So let's get back to adding in Firebase. So we need to do two things. We need to add the auth, the normal package, the auth package, and the database package right now. We don't need to. We actually don't need to do storage because. Hold on, Trey. Your keyboard is really loud. Yeah. So we don't need to use storage right now. We probably will need to add that into the Ranger app, but storage is for uploading and downloading the file contents directly. We're getting around that by just using a URL that will return the image contents. All right. So let's see. I'm just going to grab that. Grab the Firebase app at their website. We've got to also, I'll just pull this down. We've got to go do a few things to get Firebase working on this. First, I went and I grabbed the Firebase database URL. I need to get the authentication URL. So let's see. There's a listing somewhere. Here. Ah, yes. Okay, so real-time database. This is the core. You have to have this dependency. So add this. Top, and we want database, and we want auth as well. Okay. That's going to fail to build because I have not downloaded the. Actually, I already downloaded it, but I have to go here. So when you're adding Firebase to your application, you need to create a new app, and then it creates this JSON file that you download, Google Services.json. Let me just get rid of that copy. Okay. You download this. Then you copy it into the base folder. So you'll notice here I'm in the project view. This gives me more of a layout of how the directory structure looks as opposed to the Android view, which doesn't reflect how your directory tree is. You want to put it in the base of the module that you're adding it to. So in this case, it's just app. So we're going to copy the Google services.json in there. And it's already there. So I'm going to override it and then sync. So if we open this up, you'll see that it's just got some things that are specific to Firebase. So my instance I called Trail of Olin, and it should have the application ID. That's got package name. Okay. So this one actually lists both. I wonder if we could have one Google Services JSON that always just lived in the root of the project. I'm not sure. We'll have to test that out. So we'll just do a quick run of the application to make sure we're adding all that stuff. Didn't break anything. While waiting for that to build and run, let's start looking at what we need to do to log the user in anonymously.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
You shouldn't really need anonymous login just for read-only, right?
No, you don't, but you need to remove all permissions from the database for read.
If you have it set to read no auth and write auth, it still doesn't work.
So, so you're saying that if we don't do I mean, there's some benefits to doing anonymous authentication.
Well, I'm just
anyway.
saying to pull the list with no write, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, we could try to let's try to pull the list. I think though that doing the anonymous authentication is a good idea. It's not a lot of code. But yeah, I do believe you're right. You don't. If you set the permissions correctly, then you don't actually have to do it.
Yes, I just sent you the permissions list that I have set, where it's read is true and write requires auth. And my worry is that right now the way it's set, we need to do more configuration where if you're anonymous and auth is not going to be equal to null because you're anonymously authenticated, it should be able to write as well. So I feel like this.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we could look at the rules for authentication. There's a whole part in here about configuring it. Might be in a real-time database.
I think it would be under security and rules if that's what you're looking for, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so that would be a way to just say not anonymous. Authentication as well as email pattern. Oh, that's not anymore. Validation. Secure. Alright, let's see if it's under secure data.
I felt like you had to start like a role-based security at that point.
Read true.
I think we can probably table security discussions if the read-only will work, because for the purposes of the recycler, you probably just need read-only.
Yeah, I guess the only thing though is if we're gonna add in like comment, adding the anonymous auth right now will help
Oh,
with that conversion later on.
I think we can add it later though. It's not going to be that much different. We'll just have to change the security rules a little bit.
So there's got to be a way to just like prevent anonymous writes. Okay. Hmm. So maybe if we do, I mean, I think it could be as simple as just saying if not anonymous, right? There is a on the user table. So I mean, one way would be to just say if they don't have an email. So I think that could look like this.
I think what you could do for the rule is if auth.provider does not equal anonymous.
Yeah, yeah. So then auth dot provider. Oh, oops.
And then anonymous would be in single quotes, I believe.
So something like that. I mean, we can.
Yeah, I think so. And then you can simulate it in the simulator.
Okay. So we try to write to. Let's see, what do we call that? POI, points of interest. I don't remember what it's called. Point of interest off. Oh, I used to run test.
Really, you could try to write anywhere because it's a top level rule.
Simulated write aloud. Authenticated false. Huh. I don't think I like that.
You might have to also do or auth.provider does not equal null or something.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Wouldn't it be an and? You can write if you're, yeah, and if it's not, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Auth not equal to null. Yeah.
Off provider not equal to null, or maybe it is off.
Yeah, I think it was originally just auth. And let's see.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if can we turn on anonymous? Yes. All right, so we'll try to write something else here. Cool. Hey, that's pretty neat that it has that, actually. That's really
What's
cool.
that? What's that red X next to the 4 mean?
Oh, right denied.
Cool.
Let's see if I log in with the
Custom.
Whoa. So here's what auth.provider. Let's go look at. Let me just copy this. Go back. provider, providers. So this is an anonymous user. Maybe I should try email.
Here's the thing, though. Like, this isn't.
Yeah, I know it's not essential. It's pretty important to know, though.
But it's not essential to this, and it's not going to work anyway because you're still going to want to know before people can contribute. You're still going to want to know who they are. Like you'd still let them in the app with anonymous, but you wouldn't let them publish as anonymous anyway.
Yeah,
so it's you would never be able to write as anonymous.
Yeah. Oh, that still doesn't work. That still works. Huh.
I just wouldn't worry about it. Like, I think we just get to the recycler stuff.
Yeah, I think it's because we did and though. Oh, yeah. No. All right. Well, we'll table this. Yeah, we'll come back to it. Definitely want to add in anonymous authentication, and then make sure we track what users are using the app. Okay, so we'll just change this back to auth not equal to null. Okay. So if we try to write now, it still succeeds. Yeah, okay. Well, before we move on, I'm going to go into Awful and add a task just to make sure that we come back to this. Fix permissions. I'll add auth and fix to prevent okay, so this would be labels. This is something else. All right, moving on. So we'll go back into here. We'll go to our data file. We'll just remove the auth for now since we're going to ignore that. And then to start off with, now this is not our recommended way, but we're going to go into here and go to model and point of interest and just copy the values here. Okay, so we're going to put it the same. Okay. And make these public. Okay. Indent with 4 spaces. Ah, somebody changed every file to be indented with 2 spaces. An option there. So within our adapter, you'll see we've got this add point of interest. We can actually just use this for once we get our point of interest from Firebase. We can just add it to our adapter with the existing code that we've got. And then we can actually go into here, and eventually this should be in a shared module. We can just kind of steal some of this code for now. and commit a cardinal sin of coding and copy and paste things. So you'll see that that means we're going to have some errors here. First off, we can do point of interest since we've already got that in our model package. Now the callback, we don't need that. That's an interface trade created for someone created. So this, not a fan of, what is it, Hungarian notation. So we'll probably change that. And then let's just go to Firebase documentation again. We'll see retrieve data. So we want to get a reference to the database. So we'll create a private reference. Private reference. And in our on create, we'll just set that equal to, I think it's Firebase cube instance. Yep. Firebase.get. Firebase database, sorry. Instance.get reference. So that gets a reference to the root of our JSON document. Now we can set our database reference to this. The key here, okay, we're going to do another bad thing. And the goal is to come back around and move this all into shared code. So I'm not going to spend too much time fixing this correctly right now. We're going to expand this out to a string literal point of interest because we want to get the point of interest array, or JSON object actually. We don't have arrays in Firebase, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so as I mentioned before, we're just going to add our point of interest directly to our array adapter, so we don't need this list to save them, and then we'll need to add them individually. We can actually just say POI adapter.add point of interest POI. Then once we're done, we want to refresh our adapter, so notify data set change. There probably is, we can get fancier with this, and we could add some animations, or just make it look nicer so that, yeah. But another thing is eventually it'll be really easy to make this real time so that as you change things on Firebase, they're immediately reflected in the app. Okay. So this should be it. I'm going to add this guy back in. And then so stop our, what would we just set invisible? Progress dialog dot set visibility. My brain is thinking iOS right now. You just call. Oh, it's a dialogue. Jeez. Alright. We'll also dismiss it if we get canceled. Maybe we should show a little toast. Yeah. Alright, so let's try to run this. See if it works. don't like it. Illegal space. Firebase app with name default does not exist. Huh. Strange.
Did you do Firebase database dot initialize?
Probably not.
I thought that was required, but I think I might be mistaken here.
Yeah, I mean, so there's no like overall call that you do in the application to initialize Firebase, right? Maybe we just need to do install SDK. So we add Firebase to our app. We download the Google Services.json. We added the SDK. Oh. So that is in the root projects build.gradle already, right here, the Google Services 3.0, but I forgot to do this one step. So that is, you have to apply this plugin, and I did not add this to the apps build.gradle. That could probably be why it's not working. Oops. All right. Okay, what did I do? I literally had this working before. This is crazy. Still at 39, huh? Database reference. There's something that I'm doing that I'm not doing. Database app with name default does not exist. Alright, let's walk back through this.
I actually went to run this in a separate process the other day, and I got the same error message. You're not running this in a separate process, are you?
It shouldn't be, no. Let's see. Alright, so in the root level build.gradle, just validate things one by one. There is Google GMS Google-services 3.
Do it clean, Chris. Try that.
Yeah, that's what I'm just going to check all this first. All right, then in the apps build.gradle, we've got Firebase core 9.4.0. Then we've got com.google.gms. Okay, that's there. And then that's it. It doesn't say to do anything else, which I thought was really strange because in iOS you have to initialize the SDK in your app delegate. All right, so then real-time database, get started. So you compile that to the database. Yep. get instance and get reference. Let's see. I am doing database reference, Firebase database.get instance.get reference. And then it doesn't like it when I'm here. Maybe this should just be a database, Firebase database.
I think that's right. Have you tried? I mean, did you do a clean already? Did I miss it?
Nope.
Sometimes when you apply plugins to the end of the Gradle file, it doesn't want to rebuild for you.
Nope. All right, clean. Now let's try to run it again. Fresh. The other thing I'm wondering is if I need to re-download the configuration file. That's really strange. Let's see. That's get rid of this one. There we go. All right, yep, clean. That did it. All right, so we've got all the things you can see here in the database. Database. William Henry Bell. Then you've got Thaddeus Tate, Captain Jack, Thomas Polk. So this won't be real time right now because we're not observing the events. All right. So probably what we want to do next is start modifying the UI. So I'm just going to open up the sketch file. I don't have these fonts, so some things are going to look a little funky. All right. Yeah, like my text doesn't quite look right. Strangely enough, of course, iOS looks right. Okay. I mean, they're pretty much the same here. Couple things. I'm wondering if this kind of action bar height here is non-standard. So it's 78. And for some reason I'm thinking the Androids is a little bit different. Does anybody know the height off the top of their head? I guess it also depends on the size of this screen. Let's see. We're at 375 by 667. That's another strange size. So,
I think you should just use your best.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. So it might not look exactly like pixel perfect. Also, it's really hard to get pixel perfect on Android because, as you guys know, there's different screen sizes and things stretch and move. Then just kind of looking at the design a little closer, we've got this 2-level title that's centered. We've got a map icon here, and we've got this little yellow bar underneath the action bar, and then we've got our recycler view rows here. So we'll start off. I'm just going to take care of setting the colors of the app correctly, and then we'll style these rows to look like this, and add in the image view. So with that, we'll probably do Picasso. Alright, so I've got this little tool called SIP I use, and I use that just to grab colors. So you can actually, it's pretty cool. You come in here and you can say, I want to grab Android XML. So you just, there's a hotkey, but you can just kind of mouse over a color in your design, and then you automatically get the XML copied to your clipboard. So when you go back into your design and you want to start adding colors, you just come in here, and then boom, copy and paste. And now you've got that. So we'll probably say that the color primary should be the masala. And then let's go grab this little orange color here. Let's see. Grab it from a little bigger area. This might not look right to start with, but we'll just kind of see what's going on here. You know, I think that live updates might work. I might not need to keep stopping it and updating it while we're doing these changes. Yeah, okay. So we will set the primary color dark. That should be status bar color. No, this isn't exactly correct, but we'll roll with it for now. Okay, looking closer. Move on to row layout. So we already have a row here. I actually considered using the what is it? The different kind of layout, the new layout, the constraint-based layout. But this is a pretty straightforward layout right here. So, I mean, really, it's got an image and then centered text. So that's, I don't think we really need to do anything too complicated here. So we'll probably make this, I always use the XML view when I'm editing layout files. Then we can just change this to be a relative layout. So we don't need orientation. And we've got POI name. We've got this little separator line and then the distance. And in the background is an image. Let's say ID is going to be image. I think I need to specify. He's going to want me to add the content this. This one is one we might want to talk about. I know we've been talking about accessibility and how important it is to put a correct content description. But it might be good to just go with null for now and then worry about setting this later, because we wouldn't want to show a default content description. We probably want to show the statue's content description. And then in that case, the text itself would probably suffice. And I hope there's a way to tell accessibility to ignore this element. So that's something we should definitely come back to. All right, so this guy, we're just going to say, something I really like to do is kind of look at how things are going to look while I'm creating my layout. So we'll just set a source goblet here. I think there's a, let's see, I don't have any drivers, but there is one in Ranger that we can grab. Just copy this up to here for now, so you can have a little reference. Okay. Now, if anybody knows, feel free to add in. The other day I was trying to figure out how to set the custom preview window size. I don't know if you can do that. Then there's another thing called Android Tools. So anytime that you add in text, it wants it to be in your strings file. But at design time, you really don't need to have the text be in a string file. It might just be there so you can see what you're building. So you add this XML space declaration up at your root layout, and then you can do things like tools or text. I thought you could do this. Is that the right thing? Not in your image view. Duh. Tools, text. And then, let's see, what was copy graphic? So, I had that slash n in there. How do we have these stored in Firebase? So that's another thing to consider. The format, there's no formatting right now in Firebase. And our design has formatting. So I'm just going to guess that we could add a \n in here, and that will carry through the JSON and everything work correctly. So text center, text alignment, center, and we want this to be in the middle of the row, but not the exact middle. So there's a lot of ways to do this. Since we're in a relative layout, we could just try to set the top margin or how far away from the top Captain Jack is and horizontal center it, and then have the, we could take this little guy out here and make this an image, and then we could put that in the exact middle and then have the 300 yards below it, because it does kind of look like this is in the middle more or less over here on the iOS design. So that might be an easy way. Another way you could do it is you could actually we could get rid of the relative layout now that I'm looking at this, perhaps, and then have a frame layout with the image, and then have a linear layout for the text. I'm just going to go with the relative layout here. Also, guys, feel free to like chime in if you have ideas or want things to be implemented differently. Definitely want this to be more of a collaborative than just me. Alright, so.
I think you're doing fine. Your voice is very soothing.
Thanks, Trey. Alright, so let's just grab one of these horizontal dudes. And then this is going to be the trick right here, because this doesn't, I mean, I guess that this is not a standard size. Our port Android, like 375 by 677. Is that HDPI? 375 by 677. I mean, if it was HDPI, then our calculations are really simple, right? Yeah, I don't think that's. I have no clue what that is. Jeez. So, I guess where I was going, and this is where we're not going to be exact, but on a real project, I would see what screen size I've got, which HDPI bucket it fits into, and then create my assets accordingly. Normally, your designer would do all of that for you anyway, but sometimes you do it yourself, so it's good to know how it works. Here, let's say the HDPI is like 480 by 800, and this is 375 by 6. So it's in between MDPI and HDPI. We'll just take this at 1x and then make it exportable in Sketch, and then we can export our sizes. So we'll need HDPI, MDPI, XHDPI, XXHDPI, and XXXHDPI. That sound right, guys? So this would be
Repeat that, sorry.
HDPI. MDPI is 0.5x, right?
Yep. But you don't actually really need to worry about MDPI.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no device that has MDPI that we're going to support. So.
HDPI. I don't know if I've got the Android plugin. So there's a nice Sketch plugin that will export your Android assets in a way that you don't have to change the names of them.
What are you exporting?
I was just going to do this little dash. I could, you know what? I could do that as a drawable.
You do it as a vector, yeah. And
yeah, yeah. Let's not export this. But I mean, hey, for you guys that need to know how this works, there you go. So we'll just do a new drawable. Is there a built-in option for this? The resource file. We'll say line drawable. Then main root element is not a selector. It's like a shape drawable, right? So, let's put a little bit slick on this. Let's go look at how shape drawables work real fast. Oh, system's back. So, please install some new MacBooks. So, hold on, this might be. So root element is shape. Shape, and then we're just going to have a shape problem. It's not exactly what I'm looking for. So then you say, you specify the shape, and it is, and then you've got a line shape. And, I was looking for the documentation on lines, but it's not coming up here. It's actually a web page on it. Alright, let's see. Java resources, shape Java. It's in the Java resources document. Okay, so we can see that with the line, then you've got the size, which I guess would be the width and the height. Let's see. A horizontal line that spans the width of the container due to the shape requires a stroke element to define the width of the line. Okay, so we just set the stroke, I suppose. And width, the color maybe. Height, and let's say width. Let's just go with 5dp. We do go within stroke. Width dimension, which can be dp, sp, points, pixels, millimeters, inches. All right, so we want dp. Yeah, so there's a 5dp line. I'll go with it. This guy is 3dp. So it says that the height is 3. All right. Okay, so find another image view here. And then that content. I think I probably need to set the DP on this. So the source is Java center at true. Is it there or is POI above it? So the width. Oh, there it is. Looks like it's underneath the image. Alright, so when the XML element is below it, then the z-axis essentially is somebody's confused as why it's not showing up. Alright, well, we'll come back to it. So then we say Uh, Out above. Let me put an image on this, or an IG on the image. To I'm going to say horizontal center to. Then for this guy, we're going to do a similar thing. We're going to say layout below. Below. And we'll put some text in here, and we'll say that it's going to be all right, guys, help me out here.
What can we do?
All right, so the so my image view of the line drawable is not showing up. Is that because it's not because the image view is the first element? Is it the first element is the top, like in Z order, or the last element is on the top? I always forget this.
It's there.
Yeah, but it should be white. See?
We'll flip it.
I'll try that. Maybe this guy needs to be centered in parent. I don't know. It doesn't have any layout information. Or is it just too small to see?
What color is it? Go back to it.
It should be white. So now if I just comment this guy out for a second. That's probably why. Okay. Yeah, I was getting really confused there. Okay, so now we've got it here, but you can see we can't see it. So we need to change this text color. Like this kind of effect. The text color should be white. For the font color. That's pretty good. So I think this is like a 3D view now. Oh, okay. Then, alright, so that's not bad.
No, it's close. We're getting there.
Now, let's see. We run this, and it should start to look a little better. All right. So we'll edit the description, and we'll change the size. Let's see. Probably only want this to be. This is 90. We'll just say we'll try 100 dp. And we want to change the image. We can do the scale type to center crop. Exactly. Yep. So we're getting somewhere. I wonder if this is actually not supposed to have the 2 lines, because this could just be because of my fonts are all jacked up on this design. And that would actually look a lot better. It was just like
if it was all one line, yeah, I think that makes more sense. You have it's centered, you have the whole width, so it makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay. So now we can go into our adapter, and we can say, instead of setting this text, let's just put a to-do here. Set calculated distance. We're not going to do that right now. We're going to instead in our XML layout, it's going to set the text to always be 300 yards. So I'm going to just say change this to Android actually. Then we'll change create a use this. We'll call it placeholder. Run that. So that looks really bad with all that text right there. And I'm thinking 100 DPI is a little small. Yep. Okay. So let's up it to like let's try like 150. Oh, it's a lot better. I think I'm gonna roll with that. Maybe we'll get. Just don't want to have any white space. Now, here's the thing. On some phones, we might have some white space at the bottom, especially on like a tablet. Well, that's something else we'll have to think about how to address later.
Yeah, I think you need a little spacing between the title and the line, or the name and the line, and then the line and the distance. It's like all bunched up right now.
Yeah. Yep, that was next. So these font sizes, I don't think they're going to be right. So he's got it 24. Let's see what that looks like. So we'll set the name to be 24. And we'll set the 300 yards guys just go a little bit smaller, right? Oops. Got that at 13. So we'll say 13 SP, and then so there's a little bit of space that should be in between these guys. Standard is like 8 DP. I think just kind of margin. So try margin top 8 DP. Actually, it'd be easier. Let's set a margin on this guy. 8 DP all around it in all directions. I have to set it once. That looks like a little too much. Maybe we'll try 6.
The 300 looks a little small.
Yeah, I was just thinking that maybe bump that back up to like 18 or 16 maybe. So this is just kind of designed by feel. So you can see, I mean, it doesn't look exactly the same.
And that 300, that's supposed to be the current distance from every monument?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll have to do that as a later task. So
Alex has volunteered to handle our geofencing, so that might go in with that as well.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Sorting the list.
Yeah, guys, I think I like the list view a little bit larger like it is. Just because if we go smaller, then we're going to have too much white space. And then
yeah, you're on a 5x on the sim, so I mean that's an average device. Yeah.
Yeah. I should probably leave this on like a 6p, see what that does. Oops. All right. So we've got the. I mean, that's kind of. We'll call it good enough for now with the row. Let's go back to our adapter here. Well, actually, this is kind of, I mean, you could almost say this is a good point to do a commit because we've got a unit of work done. Like we've got a basic row layout, so we'll do a commit. So you can see everything I'm about to commit. Git commit -m, and put your comment in quotes. We'll say basic item row. Push that up. You don't have to do or push -u every time, but it's just a good habit to get.
I think you specified the wrong branch there. You did push origin master. Shouldn't you have done push origin? Cool.
Yeah, good call. Don't watch what I'm doing right now. Yeah, thanks.
Bonus points if you show us how to fix master. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't want to sync Gradle. As soon as I check it out, it's going to make me sync my Gradle files. I'll fix it later. So let's go into the adapter here and let's see, where's our view holder? So we want to add the image view. And we called the image view POI image. So close some extra files that we don't need. r.id.poi image, and it's going to be an image view image. Okay. So let's go get Picasso and add it. You know what? I'm going to have to sync Gradle anyway. So we can add this really awesome image library that will download and cache your images for you. Square, called Picasso. So we have that guy. Wait for Gradle to sync. Okay. Now we can show the images from Firebase. So this is where we set up all of the fields on our view. So if we just do holder.image, I think I just need to. So here's the documentation on Picasso. So Picasso.withContext.load URL into image view. So that's the simplest way to do it. So let's do that to start with. So import that class. Now, a lot of people save an instance to a context or do something, but we've got a view here that has a context, right? So we pull it out of there, then I thought the adapter had a context on it. Does it have the activity? Let's look at what the recycler view adapter has available to us. Observable, view holder. So in my opinion, I think it would be preferable to get the context off the adapter if it's present. Does it look like there's like a get view, a get context method that's defined on the interface for recycler view? So that's unfortunate. So given that fact, we'll just kind of go with getting the context from our image. Now this is, it's cool that we can just pull this point of interest out into a variable. Say point of interest p POI equals point of interest to POI dot name, and we can say POI dot image URL and holder dot image, and that should load all of our images. Now it's going to show with that default image to begin with, and we don't necessarily want that. So we may see it load quickly here. Oh, nice. So there you go. Now,
that is awesome.
Thanks. So with the design, we have this kind of gray view. And you can see the white text is super hard to read right now. So just because I think it would look a lot better if the image was blurred a little bit. We can just come in here and we can add a view. Then we can say match parent, Alright. And we can set the alpha, I believe. Can't we? Yes. To be like, let's try 0.65. And we'll set the background to. This might not be the most performant thing in the world to do, but it sure as hell looks great. So we'll say. 6.5. I'm not necessarily in love with the way that works.
You need to use like
Different
black.
color. Yeah. Okay, 7.5 is way too much. 6.5, that's even quite a bit. 35. Maybe 25 is going to be a sweet spot. At 15. I kind of like 10. I don't know. Alright, we'll go with it. Let's see. Oh. Can't see it at all. I wonder if something with the image loading is messing up that transparency.
I think you need to be like 25 or 50 or something.
Yeah.
Go dark and then lighten it up if it's too dark.
Yeah, let's go 50.
I think that looks fine. Looks good.
All right, so that's the basic recycler view. We did not, let's see, what did we address? It's getting kind of late here, so I'm thinking about cutting it short. We did not
Yeah, we can
add
talk about
this little yellow line or the custom header.
Yeah, we can talk about that, and we can talk about how to blur images if that's something we really want to do. That's a little more complicated.
You know, why am I'm thinking that Picasso has something built in. Yeah,
I was wondering if
transforms.
they did. What you used to do is you used to be able to you'd set the sample size on your bitmaps to like super low, and then it would just be blurry. But I'm not sure if that's like considered a hacky way to do that now. I haven't had to do it in a while.
Yeah, so we could do a custom image transform with like some type of filter. That would probably be the way to do it. I'm just curious because we talked about. Let's see what options does it have. So this is called like a Fluent API, where you just get back a reference to the thing that you are operating on, and then you can keep applying things. So there's no fade. There's mirror, fetch, fit. You can tell it to fit the image. You can set a placeholder if you'd like. You can resize it, by default rotate it, transform. So I wonder if these transformations are, what transformations are built into Picasso. Let's see.
I sent you a link for a guy who's got a library that does like the transforms for Picasso.
Oh, let's see. Oh, cool. Yeah, there we go. So we've already got some stuff built in. Let's see. So is this yep. I wonder if I can just do one of these real fast here. Then I can remove the blur maybe. Or the view, the gray view. Total stuff. Take now. Let's see. So what transforms does it have? Blur. There we go. Exactly what we wanted. Blur transformation. That's awesome. What does it need? Needs the context and the radius. Let's see if that works. I'm thinking the radius probably controls exactly how blurred it is, so we might want to mess around with that. Yeah, because that's way
That's
too
really, yeah, really
That's
blurry.
easy. That's so easy. Let's see, is there information about the radius? Radius and sampling. Well, this guy's pretty awesome that he did this, but he asked for...
Well, he basically did what I was talking about. So when he did the blur, he just did a downsample, and it's just too far.
Yeah.
It's just too blurry.
So
We could probably,
yeah, mess around with the parameters, probably get it back.
yeah.
So sampling, default sampling is 1. It's an int. Huh, I wonder if you can only go up. I'm not going to spend much more time on this, but let's just try like 2, 2. Yeah, so that's actually not bad. Yeah, it's really interesting though that this first one looks hardly blurry at all. And then these guys, it could be the resolution that we started out with. So essentially, all of these images I uploaded as examples aren't necessarily the same resolution. So perhaps we'll need to get all of the same resolution images before we can actually do this.
Right, because it's like downsampled, but it's downsampled on a higher res, so it's not as blurry.
Let's add another to-do in here. To-do, update blurs, programs, after. All right, so I think that's it for me. Any questions for everybody?
Are you gonna commit this? Can we see it live?
Yeah. Oh, let's do the PR. All right, let's do it. All right, so git status. Okay, I've got a couple things. Git add that. Action. Oh, here, I'll just do git status. So you can see I've got things that are ready to be committed. Added image downloading. Or okay. Alright, so this is where things are going to get fun. I did check out master. Okay. Now my master is at the correct master for the project. As Alice pointed out, I accidentally pushed up changes to master, my current copy of master, so I'm just going to do something you should never do unless you really think you know what you're doing. Push dash. This is my favorite, FU. You don't have to do it in that order. But that's a force push. So now if I go back to GitHub, okay, so you can see that it looks like I'm back on the regular commit. The last commit was Trey. It wasn't mine on my master branch. Then you see I've got my feature/POI list. It was just recently updated. So now I'm going to do this through GitHub just to kind of illustrate it with the merge. But first, one thing you want to do while you're on your master is do a fetch. Or actually, you can just do git pull upstream. Okay, so that just try to get any changes that were out on the master branch of the upstream repo, which is the main trail of history repository, and get them to my master. So I know I'm up to date, so I don't have to push anything up. So now I come in here, I've got this branch I want to merge into my master. So I'm going to say I need to merge initial UI for UI list. Just merge. Okay. So you'll see that base fork here is, I guess it does, I actually don't need to merge back into my copy of master. That would create an extra merge commit.
Yeah, just do PR.
But you still want to pull master down every time. And if there's ever, it could be good to do this workflow though, because we want to make sure that people aren't trying to merge things that are missing.
You already did a
that
pull
have conflicts.
You could do a pull from upstream master though, and avoid the merge commit this way, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you could do that too. All right, so I'll just do this. So the base fork is the CLT mobile if that's our main repo, the master branch. And I've got my feature/POI list branch. It says we're able to merge. I'll assign this one to Trey. So you come in here and you look for their username, and we can say this is a what is this? I guess it's in progress. This is where we should be able to reference the issue number 26. So if you come in here and you say fixes, I think is it pound issue? Issue, you could say 26, right? Yeah, fixes 26. That'll link it to the GitHub issue since it's mentioned in my pull request, and then that will also change our card, which I never moved to in progress. This should have been in progress, to done once it's merged into the main branch. Good, very important. Now, normally you'd want to do a little bit more of a, comment for your merge, just kind of describing what all you do, what all you did, and what you tested, and why you did it. But yeah, so if Trey or you guys review this and accept it, I could do that too. Then everyone could have it on the master branch. Nice. Well, just for that, I'm going to merge it.
Yeah. Go ahead and merge it. That's fine.
Yeah. All right, so confirm the merge. Uh, so sometimes I'll delete my branches just to keep my own workspace clean. I'm not going to do that right now. But now all of that we did is out for everyone else to pull down. And it's been merged. So here's how I pull this back into my master branch. Git pull upstream master. Pulls down everything that I just did. And we can sync it. And should run exactly the same. So, all right, so that is it. Any questions? That was went a little bit over time, went 2 hours instead of 1, but I think that's about what I expected.
I think that was great. It's a good job.
Cool, guys. All right, well, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you guys in a few weeks. So, good night.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
Thanks, that was awesome.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Yep, adios.
Bye.